Welcome to the deep dive. You gave us a stack of sources, dictionaries, etymological texts, usage guides, and we've done the work to pull out the key knowledge for you.
Our goal is simple, a linguistic shortcut to being truly well-informed.
And today, we're aiming for what you could call radical linguistic precision.
We're focusing on 8 words, and they all seem simple. They all start with AC, but we're going way beyond just the surface definition.
We're talking hidden nuances, some surprising, contradictory meanings, and this shared power that comes from their ancient Latin roots.
Right. It's all about moving from just recognizing a word to really understanding it, understanding why it can hold two, sometimes totally opposite meanings.
And once you see those layers, you realize how much subtlety you can add to how you speak and write.
What's really fascinating, I think, is the theme that just emerges from the material. You have these terms, they share a beginning, but they describe everything from, well, abstract philosophy.
To criminal law.
Exactly. To criminal law, and even just the simple act of walking up a hill. It's a study in tension, really.
Okay, let's dive right into that tension. We can start with a word that I think gets used as both a huge compliment and, well, a bit of an insult.
Academic.
Academic.
Most people hear it, and they immediately think of, higher learning, an academic curriculum, or maybe academic achievements.
Sure, school, university, those are the pillars of the word.
They are. But the sources show this really fascinating internal conflict.
Right, because when you call someone an academic, you might be praising their intellect, or you could be just dismissing them completely.
Precisely. We see these 2 other definitions in the source material that introduce, well, negativity. The first is an adjective describing someone who is very learned but inexperienced in practical matters.
I think we all know that person.
We do.
Yeah.
The brilliant theorist who would be totally lost if you asked them to, manage a simple project deadline.
Or change a furnace filter. The word itself sort of hints at a detachment, doesn't it? A disconnect from the real world.
Yes, that ivory tower disconnect becomes the defining trait. And that leads right to that second negative meaning, when we call something a purely academic question.
Which basically means it doesn't matter.
It means it's theoretical, it's speculative, and it often signifies it has no practical or useful significance. It's the ultimate brush off.
So the word for learning becomes a sign of irrelevance. How did that even happen? Where did that split come from?
You have to go all the way back to its origins. It's borrowed from the Latin academicus.
Which means?
Of the school of Plato. It comes directly from the Greek, akademeia, which was the actual site of Plato's philosophical school just outside Athens. So from the very, very beginning, the word was tied to this high-level theoretical philosophical world.
Ah, okay. So if a word is born in a place focused purely on abstract ideas, the nature of truth, the perfect state, it makes sense that centuries later it could be seen as totally divorced from the messy practical world.
Exactly right. That high-status noun for a place of pure thought, it eventually morphed into an adjective for people and problems. And because that thinking often lacked a direct practical application, the negative meanings started to form, centuries after its first known use in English around 1581.
Status and irrelevance. 2 sides of the same coin.
So a perfect example.
That sets a really powerful context. So if that's what happens when we think, let's shift to what happens when we act. Our next group of words is all about movement, position, or yielding.
And they all stem from that powerful Latin prefix ad.
Meaning to or toward.
Let's start with accede. It's a very formal verb, and we might think it just means saying yes, but it's much more complex than that.
It has a couple of main uses, right?
It does. First, to express approval or give consent. It's usually followed by to like. The board acceded to the demands of the union.
And then there's the political one, to enter upon an office or position. A monarch accedes to the throne.
Yes. But here's the core tension. The dictionary doesn't just say agree. It makes a point of saying that to accede usually implies yielding.
Yielding.
And often that yielding happens under pressure and with some reluctance. It's not an enthusiastic agreement. It's more like a reluctant compliance.
Wait, I really just thought it meant a formal agreement. What's the distinction the dictionary makes between that and, say, consent?
So if we look at consent, that involves your will, your feelings, you give it freely. If you agree, it implies you've gotten over some previous difference of opinion.
Okay.
But to accede, That's about giving up your own position to make something happen.
Yeah.
You might have to accede to a change in a contract even though you absolutely hate the new terms. It's basically the linguistic sound of a heavy sigh.
That idea of reluctant yielding is a perfect bridge to our next word, accommodate. Because if you have to accede to an idea, you then have to accommodate its demands.
Absolutely. The core meaning is about making physical room a hotel that can accommodate 100 people, or providing something someone asks for, like accommodating a colleague who needs a loan.
But again, the real depth is in the adaptation senses, isn't it? We use it to mean bringing things into agreement or reconciling them. You might have to accommodate yourself to a new company culture after a merger.
It means you have to allow for something, give consideration to it. You have to accommodate the special interests of different groups, for instance.
So the takeaway for you, the listener, is about precision.
Right. When you accommodate, you are consciously compromising. You're bending to create alignment. Just adjusting could be passive. Accommodation takes effort, and like acceding, often some reluctance.
This connection between willingness and yielding takes us, just for a moment, to a purely physical word that uses the same building blocks. Acclivity.
It's a noun you almost never hear today, but it's so precise it just means an ascending slope.
A hill, an incline.
An ascent, that's it. Simple upward movement. But it's so powerful how such a useful, precise word has basically fallen out of use, replaced by generic things like hill or grade.
And its etymology, I assume, ties back in.
It absolutely reinforces the theme. It's from the Latin acclivitas, which is from acclivus, meaning sloping upwards. So it's literally about moving toward a higher point. That ad route again, before we jump back to more abstract things.
Like speed and reach, let's talk about velocity. We're shifting now to accelerate and accessible.
We all get accelerate in the physical sense, a car speeding up, but its real power is often figurative. When we use it as an intransitive verb, we say the pace of change has accelerated.
But as a transitive verb, it's about timing. It means to bring about at an earlier time. Circumstances might accelerate their departure. It just means it happens sooner than anyone planned.
And the roots confirm that. Latin accelerar, to add speed to, from add plus celerar, which means to hasten. It's about increasing the swiftness towards some endpoint.
And that swiftness connects right into the idea of being reached. Accessible. We know the main meaning, a town that is accessible by train. But where do the other non-physical meanings come in?
They all come from the core idea of approachability. The definitions move very quickly into the interpersonal world, someone who is easy to talk to.
Well, that's an accessible boss. They're easy to approach.
And conceptually, it means easy to understand. An author's most accessible stories are the ones that don't need a PhD to appreciate.
And of course, we can't ignore the huge modern usage, adapted for use by people with disabilities, accessible parking, accessible restrooms.
Right, ADA accessible.
And all of these, physical, conceptual, social, they all share that etymological link back to the root of accede, that word acquire.
Which means to approach.
Exactly. Whether it's approaching an idea, a parking spot, or a contract, accessibility is all about the ability to approach it.
That is fascinating, that the same root links yielding your position to being able to understand a concept. Okay, final group. Recognition, praise, and crime.
Let's start with the positive. Public recognition. Acclaim and accolade.
Acclaim, the verb, seems pretty straightforward. To applaud, to praise. Critics acclaimed her performance. Right. An accolade is related. It's the noun form, a mark of acknowledgement, an award. It's what you get after you've been acclaimed.
So what's the deep dive here?
The deep dive is the origin story. If you only know accolade as award, you miss where it came from. It's from the Middle French accolade, which literally meant to embrace.
An embrace. How do you get from a hug to, say, an Oscar?
Because the accolade was originally the ceremonial embrace or salute that was used when conferring knighthood.
Oh, wow.
It often involved the sovereign tapping the new knight on the shoulders with the flat of a sword.
Yeah.
As a formal, high-status embrace. So the word we use for a prestigious award is really just a descendant of a physical ceremonial hug.
From a sword tap on the shoulder to a lifetime achievement award. The core idea of high-status affirmation is still there.
It is. Which brings us to our final word, accessory. And this one perfectly shows how that ad root can be completely neutral, or, in a legal context, become incredibly serious.
Right, we use it all the time in the neutral sense. Clothing accessories, a new phone case. Things that add convenience but aren't essential.
But then you walk into a courtroom and the word takes on a much darker meaning. The accessory is someone who contributes to a crime but isn't the main person who did it. And the law is very clear about two different types.
It's all about timing, isn't it, relative to the crime itself?
Exactly. The first type is the accessory before the fact.
The instigator.
The instigator, yes. The person who maybe provides the tools or the plan, but isn't physically there when the crime happens. They buy the tools for the robbery, they hire the getaway driver. They are moving toward the crime by helping it happen beforehand.
And the second type? The accessory after the fact. This one always seemed more insidious to me because they're actively trying to defeat justice.
Absolutely. This is the person who knows a felony was committed and they help the offender. They hide them, they destroy evidence, all with the intent of preventing capture. They didn't plan it, they didn't do it, but by helping the criminal escape, they're moving toward the crime after the fact.
It's pretty remarkable that in both of those legal roles, the accessory is defined by their action of moving to or toward the crime, either helping it happen or helping someone get away. That ad route is the precise thing that defines their guilt.
And that really summarizes this whole deep dive, I think. The enduring power of that simple Latin root. Every single one of these words, from the abstract nature of academic to the physical climb of an acclivity, is fundamentally about moving to or toward a state, a position, or an action.
And that's the real takeaway for you. You can now use these 8 terms with total precision. You know when academic is an insult versus a compliment. You know that when someone accedes, they might secretly be grinding their teeth.
The difference between accede and accommodate is the difference between yielding reluctantly and actively compromising to find a solution.
We've seen how the same route that drives us to express joyful acclaim also defines the person who acts as a criminal accessory.
Which leaves an important question for you to think about. In terms of knowledge, when is it better to accommodate a new, challenging idea? To willingly bend your perspective and make room for it? And when should you absolutely refuse to accede to a common assumption, to hold your ground against pressure?
Think about where in your life you need to be highly accessible and where you need to set up firm, uncompromising boundaries. We'll leave you with that to consider. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.